Hey folks, it's Monday motivation time. And with today's video, I want to do two things. The first is I just want to share something really cool that happened to me that I was really excited about that genuinely was a dream come true. It was a little check off the bucket list, which truthfully I never thought would actually happen. And the second piece is how we can do that for other people. So to give you just a quick backstory, growing up in the state of Wyoming, the United States, and in the era that I grew up, there wasn't a lot of gay representation on TV. And if it was, it played into some sort of stereotype in the gay community, specifically for gay men. But then in 1998, a television show aired that for me changed everything. That television show was Will and Grace. If you're not familiar with Will and Grace, it's a story of a gay guy named Will and his best friend Grace. And while they were in college, they dated and they were eventually potentially going to get married. And then Will came out. The whole premise of the show is about what happened after that and how they navigate the world together and how they're best friends and all the things that they get into. And they have a supporting cast, obviously, of Sean Hayes, who plays Jack, who's like the hilarious gay best friend, and then Karen, who works for Grace because Grace is in interior design. So when this aired, it was the first time for me, as someone who identifies as a gay man, where I had representation on TV. And that was a huge deal. I'd never seen myself on TV before. Ellen DeGeneres existed, obviously, and she came out in 1994. Right after that, her show was canceled, and she was ostracized and left the limelight for a while. She's not the Ellen that you know now. There was no one, and so Will and Grace was the first TV show that, wow, I saw myself. I identified a lot with Will, with a bit of his neurosis, and just how he carried himself. He could be super flamboyant, but he could also be super masculine, and that's how I navigate the world as well. And his best friend, Grace. I had my best friend, Marcy, who was my Grace. And as the show went on for the next 8 seasons or so, all the things that happened between Will and Grace oftentimes mirrored my life. When Grace got married in the show, Marcy got married. And there was just all these like beautiful synergies. And so I always wanted to like go to a taping or given the opportunity to meet the cast, but that seemed like a long shot. So fast forward, some of you may or may not know that Demi Lovato is one of my friends. I hosted her and her family and her friends in Kenya a couple of times. She brought me on her world tour where I opened for her shows every single night. And we're legit friends. And so recently she reached out and said, "Oh, I haven't seen you for a while. I'd love to see you." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not available for October," which is when she wanted to hang out, but I was like, I might be able to do something later, like let me know when you're available. Well, she has a recurring role on Will and Grace. And so she sent me a message saying, "Hey, why don't you come hang out with me on the set of Will and Grace? That way we can catch up, but I think you'll enjoy it." And I wrote back and I was like, "Don't tease me. I would quit my job and sell my family for this opportunity." So last week, that's what I did. It was amazing. I showed up in LA on the Universal lot. I hung out with Demi for a bit. We caught up, and then I got to sit in the audience and watch the show. And one of the biggest moments for me is they show the episode that aired the previous week, and they've got this like massive white sheet that hangs down where they show the episode, and then at the end they do like a 60 to 90 second montage of all of Will and Grace. And then the minute that montage is over, that white screen, that sheet drops, and the cast is just standing there. I can't even begin to express the amount of excitement and awe, and also I was so overcome with emotion that I got a bit teary. And they started filming the show, and it was incredible to be able to watch them film the show that I had watched for so many years. And anybody that really knows me knows that I can quote almost every episode. And I always relate to Will and Grace in my life at some point. The coolest part is that every time that my friend Demi was filming, her bodyguard Max would bring me to the floor. So I got to like stand by the set and watch her film her scenes in this specific episode. And then at the end, after the show was over, I was really fortunate that Demi and her team got me into the meet and greet line. And I got to meet the cast. I got to shake their hands and meet them individually and then take a photo. Now there's a part of me that wishes that I would have told them what the show meant to me. And I post that on my Instagram, but I want to reiterate it here that, you know, it was the first time where I felt represented. That show in particular got me through a lot of dark times when I was coming out, when I was feeling sad and scared going to university for the first time. It was a show that I could turn on and I could forget about everything for 30 minutes and just laugh and feel like I wasn't alone. And to take this photo and to meet this cast was amazing. I didn't say that to them because the line was too long and I didn't want to take up other people's chances to meet them. So I took my photo, I thanked them, and I moved on. I am so grateful to Demi and to her bodyguard Max for providing this opportunity for me. This was a dream come true. And I also want to recognize that I obviously have some privilege here of my job allows me to have access to people that not everybody has access to. So I say that wholeheartedly. But to debrief this whole thing, and the reason that I wanted to share this for Monday Motivation is that a friend of mine wanted to help a dream come true for me. And as we approach sort of the holiday season and the hustle and bustle of things, it can be easy to get caught up in shopping and getting the gifts and traveling and all the things. This year in particular, and specifically this week for Monday Motivation, start to think, how can you start to make some of your own dreams come true? Or how can you help people in your life achieve some of their dreams? As always, I would love to know in the comments below some of your friends that have helped make your dreams come true, or vice versa. And as always, if you don't want to share them here on YouTube, you can definitely slide into the old DMs on Instagram. Happy to chat there. But that's today's Monday Motivation. Let's start making some dreams come true. I know it's cheesy, but it happened.